This is EB3, Speaking of Truth and Love, and I just come on for a few minutes to give you guys a word of encouragement. Like, subscribe, and drop a comment in the comment section. Go ahead, click that subscribe button if you haven't already. Thank you so much. So, on the last video, I said at the end that I would do a video about the different phases of marriage. From my perspective, of course. So let's get into it. So when you first get married, and it's based on when you first get married is, you're in that honeymoon phase. You love each other. Oh my goodness, you can't do without one another. You know what I'm saying? You want to be in the presence of your spouse all the time. You can't get enough of each other. But even in that phase as well, what people don't tell you about is the fact that whether you live together or not, it's like there's a change. People say it's just a piece of paper, but it's a change of ownership. What do I mean by that? So even though before you got married, you didn't want to see this person with anybody else, right? Yes, you kind of want to know where they were and stuff like that. But when you first really get married, you are adjusting to, as a wife, you're adjusting to answering to somebody. And you'll find yourself, especially the newer generation. I know when I first got married, we were considered, modern. And so, of course, some of you guys that are watching, I say guys, y'all don't take that offensive. That's just the Southern in me. I say guys a lot. I say you all and guys a lot. But you'll find yourself, if nobody has told you about this, you'll find yourself trying to figure out, why does he feel like he can tell me everything? It's an adjustment to answering to your spouse. Because now you got somebody that's ahead of you. I know people, modern women, in my age group and younger, and even just a little bit older, don't want to hear it. But once you have met, let's go back and think about what happens at the wedding ceremony. Cross nationalities, cross cultures, right? The woman and her father, if she has a father, comes down, an uncle, brother, somebody. The woman and somebody is going to walk up the aisle, right? The man is standing up there in the front, right? And the pastor, the rabbi, the judge, whoever he is that's officiating this wedding is going to ask, who gives this woman away? And most of the time, traditionally, it would be the father, but of course we don't live in real tradition times anymore, so it could be, like I said, a brother, and nowadays it could be a son, whomever it is. They say, I do. So, with that being said, somebody else was already governing you, and that somebody else most likely is your parents. Your parents governed you. What do I mean by that? Your parents raised you. Your parents gave you a lot of your moral compass. They taught you what was right and what was wrong in their eyes, according to their religious belief or non-religious belief. Whatever they are, they taught you their way. Whether it was a single mother, whether it was a mother and father, whether it was some grandparents, or whether it was some guardians, because you come from a difficult type situation. At any rate, somebody at some point in your life was governing over you. That's the presumption, right? In order for them to give you away. And so now that they're giving you away, they're giving you to this man as a possession. You don't want to look at it that way, but to some degree you are his wife now. And so we go through that, and the first part of marriage is all about learning each other's roles. Like I said, you loving each other, you can't get enough of each other, you just want to be there all the time. Well, there comes this period of time where now you're trying to figure out, really, is this what I really want? People don't like to talk about this, but that's true. You're going to come to a point of time where you're going to be like, is this really what I want? And this is why. It don't even have anything to do with love. It all go back to what I said before. Your parents, whoever raised you, have taught you certain things. And so if you marry somebody, their parents have taught them some things. And so now you got two people from two different backgrounds coming together, trying to become one, like the scripture says, and there's some conflict. I don't care how much you love each other, there's always going to be some conflict. So if you can make it through that first phase of conflict, you will go on for a few more years. Sometimes it's around between 5 and 7 years, but sometimes depending on how different of your backgrounds, it may be within the first year. But at some point within that first 7 years, you are going to question, why did I get married? I don't care how much you love that person. That is just part of the phases in marriage. Now there's a second phase. In the second phase, now in that first phase, you probably already have 1 or 2 kids, unless you are like still getting your education, or maybe you have some difficulties having children, because it's not guaranteed that you're going to be able to have children. And sometimes people haven't discussed that either. What if we cannot have children? Would we want to adopt children or whatever? But in that second phase, if you haven't already started having a family, that's when the family comes. By now, you have come to some difficulties. Some people, like I said, this is not 100% win these phases. I'm just telling you what kind of happened with us, right? So you're going to go through some kind of trial and tribulation within the first 10 years of your life together. Ours was figuring out how to live together from the beginning, figuring out how to live together with our generations. Like, I knew he loved me, but I also knew that he could be a little bit stern, to say it. And I can be a little bit stubborn, to say it. I mean, I'm just being honest. And I have to have my opinion. When I was younger, but I learned to, like I said in the other video, I learned to be quiet so I can listen and understand who this man is and his perspective on life. And that helped us out a lot, because that is what men need. Really and truly, they need somebody to listen to them. We think we need somebody to listen to them, but they need somebody to listen to them more than we do a lot of times. But like I said, there's going to be something in your marriage that's going to make you question, why did this happen? Then there's a possibility, now this don't always happen, but there's a possibility that something's going to happen in that marriage that make you where you don't even really love. You love them, but you're not in love with them anymore. But if you stick that phase out, because those are your emotions. Listen, he done said some things that you don't like. Some of his decisions you don't agree with. You know, you done have money problems. Now you supporting him by working 2 jobs and all this kind of stuff. he done invested money in the stuff that you didn't believe in, or whatever it is. He don't like the way you think the children should be raised. There's gonna be something that makes you not like him, pretty much. But if you stick it out, guess what happens? After the storm, if there was genuine friendship and love from the beginning, you will find yourself falling back in love with them. I'm telling you, it sounds crazy. I know it does. But you will find yourself falling back in love with this person. Because there's going to be something that happens. It could be the death of somebody. It could be the loss of something. But you will see a strength in him. If he's the right type of person, you will see a strength in him that makes you fall in love with him all over again. And you'll be like, I'm going to spend the rest of my life with this person. And it's like a cycle. It's like a cycle. Most of the time, people get divorced because they don't have the skills to communicate. So what happens is, if you got the skills to communicate, as you go through these phases in your marriage, you will find yourself communicating better. Like I said, I had to learn how to be quiet and just listen sometimes, right? And then depends on what kind of person, what personality that you're living, how they do their love language and stuff like that. You have to figure those things out. But you got to want to. And that's the thing, because these phases are going to come. It's going to come. He's going to do something to you, to somebody you love. He's going to say something. He's going to not be paying you the type of attention that you think you deserve, mainly because he's tired. You know, you tired, he's tired. Everything's about the children. Everything's about maybe his career, your career. You're both trying to have a career and raise children. And most of the stuff, and 9 times out of 10, in a marriage, somebody is going to give more than the other. Somebody's going to be with the children more. Like in our marriage, if in the beginning, when we first started having children, it was me. I was with the children. The children were with me all the time. My boys was with me all the time. And, you know, I picked them up from the daycare. I took them everywhere whatever activities they had to go through, whatever, right? But then there came the time when I got in management on my job. And so the roles kind of reversed to a degree. And then he retired, because remember I said earlier that he's older than me, right? So when he retired, he took on more of those type of duties for a long time until he got sick. A long time people used to say, every time I see your husband, them boys is with him. You got a good husband. And he was a good man. He did everything that he was supposed to do with those boys as much as he could until he got sick. When he got sick, of course, I kind of took on the roles again, even though I still had the same responsibilities at work. I took on those roles. That's what I'm saying. In a marriage, there's growth, there's phases, and then there's the roles reverse. It's like you got to give and take. You got to give and take, and you got to know that. I'm sure there were times when he was like, I don't know why in the world I married this crazy lady. You know what I'm saying? Because I was young. When I married him, I was young, and I had a lot of ideas. Some of them was just stupid, stinking thinking. Because I didn't really know how to be a wife. That's the other thing. You got to learn how to be a wife. I started reading the Bible, and I got convicted. Like a lot of things that initially that I would be arguing back about and stuff like that, I started realizing that what we speak out of our mouth is important. It's powerful. And especially as the people of God, if you're instead of telling your husband he's stupid and he get on your nerves, that's what it is, you know. But if you start telling him the different things that you see that he do great, you'll encourage him, and you'll help him to build confidence in himself. And he will eventually, even not even knowing, he would grow to appreciate you versus resenting you. You don't want to speak so much negative. You don't want to speak so much negativity over your spouse, and to the point where you don't even realize what you've done. Because some people, you don't want to speak more you don't want to speak so much negativity over your spouse till you don't even realize who you're living with. And the thing is, you are the one that spoke that. You spoke that into his life. Our words are positive. Our words are powerful. They're sharper than two-edged sword. This tongue right here can gain. This tongue right here can make rulers, but it also can make punks. It can bring strength, and it can bring so much weakness, so much vulnerability. And you've got to be careful what you say to your spouse, and really to your children too. A woman don't really realize a lot of times how powerful she really is. But you really are powerful. Your words carry a lot of weight in your household. So, show some love, build them up, help them build their own character. And it's okay if they take the credit. God knows what you did. God knows every idle word and every word that you speak that will build character in your spouse, support and love and confidence in your spouse. Look, this has been EB3, Speaking the Truth in Love. Like, subscribe, and drop a comment. And be a wise woman. Learn to be a wise woman that builds her house by building up your spouse. Be blessed and be a blessing. I am out.